Hello everyone, I thought for this video I would show you a bit about braiding. In a response to my video on Christmas, my sister said I didn't think those hairstyles were very easy because I don't know how to French braid. So I thought maybe some of you would like to see very basic steps of braiding, and that's what I wanted to show to you today. The first one is just an ordinary three-strand braid. That's what I want to start off with because that's the basis for most of these. Take your hair, split it in 3 sections and place the outer strand over the middle one, alternating sides. Outer strands over what is then the middle one. Outer over the middle, outer over the middle, and keep going like that. I think most people can do this, but I just want to start with the basics, not being accused of skipping them again. Okay, once you get to the end, tie it off with elastic bands, and what you can do to make your braid look a bit more voluminous or interesting is tuck the outsides of the braid like so. And what that will do is make your braid a lot flatter, but also make it look fuller. And it will be quite pretty if you then pin it to your head. We'll move on to French braiding. Now French braiding is nothing but that 3-strand braid, but every time you pass the outside section over the middle one, you want to add a bit of hair. With French braiding you start off with 3 sections. But this time I've started it sort of in the middle of my head, like so. And now every time I'm going to cross the side over the middle, I'm going to add a little bit of hair. Side one, grab a bit of extra hair from beside it and place it over the middle one, like so. And again, side, grab a bit of hair, place it over the middle, and repeat, alternating sides. Grab a bit of hair, add it to that strand there, side strand, grab a bit of hair from the back, and I'm running out of hair here, so I'm just going to finish off with normal braiding. That's a French braid, incorporating hair from both sides. The third braid I wanted to show you is the same basic steps. So again we're starting off with a piece in the middle, splitting it into 3. But now, instead of placing your outermost strands over the middle one, I'm going to place it under the middle one while adding hair. And what you will get if you do this is a so-called Dutch braid, and the braid will sort of lie on top of the hair, which is a very pretty effect. So every time you're placing the strand under the middle one, you grab a bit of hair from just beside it and put that in with it. I'm just going to finish off by braiding to the back, like so. Do you see how this braid just lies on top of the hair? So for this next braid I put in my extension, and I realized they don't really blend color-wise very much at the moment, but I thought it might be a bit easier to see if I had slightly longer hair, so that's why I popped them in. What I want to show to you next is a box braid, and a box braid is actually really quite simple, but quite an interesting look that a lot of people don't know about. Again, start with 3 strands, and instead of bringing your hair over the middle one, what we're going to do is split the middle one in 2 sections and bring the outside strand through the middle one. And again, split the middle section into 2, grab your side strand and then merge them back into one another. So split middle section, push your outside section through and merge them back in, and keep going like that. So split, pull through and merge them back together. And what you will get is a square or box braid. Just by braiding with 3 strands you can create a square braid. Now there's one more braid with 3 strands that I referred to in my Christmas video, and that was the one that my sister didn't quite catch, which is called the lace braid. And for lace braid you need to have, again, 3 strands, just like ordinary French braiding. But what we're going to do is only incorporate hair from one side of the braid. So we're starting off with 3 strands. And on the side of your face you can just flip that first strand over the middle one. And then when we want to put this, the strand the farthest away from the face over the middle one, we want to incorporate a little bit of hair. Grab a bit of hair from that top there and put that over the middle. And then just braid normally for one braid, and then grab a section from the top, incorporating that with your side section. Now, it is a bit tricky because these layers are very short, but it can be done. So just braid normal on the side of your face, and when you're at the top, incorporate a bit of hair. Every time you're at the top, you grab a little bit of hair and add that to your outside strand and place that over the middle, only at the top. And if you want, of course, you can start the braid a bit further along and then incorporate only hair from the bottom, which is also very pretty. You get sort of a swept look that way. For the last 2 braids I wanted to show you, you only need 2 strands. I'm going to split the hair in 2. And for the first one, the fishtail braid, you just grab a section from the side of one of the 2 sections and bring it over to the other side. Grab a section, I need a section with the extension, and then bring it over to the other side. And just keep repeating this. Now this braid takes quite a long time to complete, and I will show you a way that is slightly faster in a second. It also takes quite a long time for the effect to show up with the fishtail braid, so hang in there. It is gonna come, but it takes a little while. Keep picking strands sort of from the side back, sort of placing them over, bring them over to the other side. I usually just sort of use my index finger to poke through and grab them. Now the other method that is a bit faster because you're exchanging strands 2 at the time is grab your sections like this, your thumbs at the back, and then use your index finger to create 2 strands, poke your fingers through and then cross them over at the same time. So again, take your index fingers, poke your thumbs through, turn your wrists inwards and exchange the strands. See how that is twice as fast? Because you're creating those small strands two at a time. Closer. So poke your index fingers through and then sort of exchange those strands. And that's fishtail braiding. Fishtail braiding is also very pretty if you tuck the sides to make it a bit more voluminous, more bohemian looking. Normal braiding is a lot faster than this. And then sort of tuck the sides of the braid, get a very, very pretty big looking braid. Especially if you have different colours in your hair or stripes. This is very pretty. See how that looks? The last braid I wanted to show you is the so-called rope braid, and rope braid also takes only 2 strands. So divide your hair in 2, and then what you want to do is start twisting it, and make sure that both the strands you're twisting in the same direction. And then you want to twist those 2 strands together, going the opposite direction. And it's important that you go the opposite direction, because otherwise it won't stay together. This is a very quick way to put your hair in a braid. See how quick that is? Just twist them while you twist them around one another. You have the sort of unicorn looking braid. There are a couple more braids that I haven't gone over here yet, but I think they're a bit more advanced, and I really wanted to have this as a 101 in braiding. I have a couple more tips. For example, if you happen to have braided and you're at the end and you have a loose bit like that, you can just take a bobby pin and grab that loose bit, place that in the hollow of your bobby pin like so, and then put the hair back in the braid with your bobby pin and hide the bobby pin under your braid. That's a very good way to disguise any mistakes you may have made. Also, if you have hair that's hard to braid, you might want to try braiding on hair that is not terribly clean. So maybe the second day after you washed it, it will have a bit more grip and it will be easier, it won't slide as much. Also, if you have very, very slippery hair, you can use a bit of hairspray or some volumizing powder to give it a bit more grip, and that will make it easier to braid as well. Other tips I have is keep the braid as close to your head as possible, and also the braid is going to lie where you direct it. So if you want a braid that's going to the back like so, you will have to braid with your arms over your head, pulling it back as you go, because otherwise the hair will just stick up to the front like I have right now. And if you want to bring it to the back, the only way you can do it is sort of flip it over, but you may get a bit of bulging. But if I had pulled it back as I went and braided it, it would have been flat and flush against my head, and it would have been a lot easier. That's all I can think of for now on braiding. I hope this was useful for someone, and I hope it was informative and someone learned a little bit from this. So I'll catch you next time. Bye everyone.